What is happening, folks? How you doing? Ritual Madness Podcast, episode 250. That's right, we made it to 250. I can't fucking believe it. I'm pretty stoked about that. 250 episodes of pure nonsense. I hope you folks are doing well. I hope you had a fantastic week and you're ready for the weekend. And thank you very much for joining us. Do me a favor and check out Ritual Madness. I'm going backwards here. Check out Anti-Broadcasting, custom screen printing, anti-broadcasting at gmail.com, 612-836-9488. If you're looking to get some t-shirts done, some sweatpants, I mean, they do all kinds of shit over there. Sweatshirts. It is getting cold here in the Twin Cities. Man, it was chilly all fucking day long, and I don't think it's going to get any nicer anytime soon. Do me a favor and check out Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective, 612-353-4755. That's Lowbrow Saints at gmail.com. Give them a shout. If you're looking to get some tattoo work, Lowbrow Saints is the place I would check out. Very, very busy shop. They always make time for walk-ins, though, which is a fantastic thing. Not a lot of places do that. They do follow all the guidelines for the COVID garbage that's going on right now. But check out Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective, 612-353-4755, Lowbrow Saints at gmail.com. And all that happy stuff. Tonight, we've got the guys from Dreams Aside, and what was that first song? What was that song we played there?
That song was called Lost Paradise.
Lost Paradise. Now, tell me what that one's about.
Well, it's pretty basically about kind of searching for a place that we can never find.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we live in this world where we continuously need to satiate ourselves.
Yeah.
And if we don't, well, then suffering is soon to follow. So
Right.
Imagine like the opposite of that. What would we call that? Where we didn't need to constantly consume to satiate ourselves, and we were just, in a paradise.
Right.
Well, the another word for that might be heaven. So
Right.
The lyrics, "Heaven, where are you? Are you a world that won't exist?"
Right.
Pretty much plays on to that idea.
Right.
Yep.
That's good. That's awesome. Which is really crazy that we bring up that subject when we almost had the entire house fall on us. Off the air, we were talking about religion, and I know that's a really super touchy subject with a lot of people. And
Blasphemy.
Yeah, and we were talking about old school death metal stuff that I had done in the past. About some of the people know this story, but I had played a church back in the day with. We did a satanic tune in a church, and we were talking about that, and then went into a conversation about my mother and how religious my mom is, and made some points about it, and these guys were chuckling, and we're chuckling, and we're about to go on the air, and the music's playing, and all of a sudden the lights go, whoa. I was like, whoa.
This is a warning.
Yeah.
Be out.
Why don't you tell the people what your name is and what you do in the band?
Yeah, my name is Brady Outkill. I'm the drummer, and just play the drums, basically. I mean, that's all I do.
Does some promoting.
Yeah. And do
Shit,
promoting
too.
and stuff, yeah.
Jeremiah Inyekwayachu. You can just call me Jerry. I do vocals.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I write the vocals and vocal melodies and stuff like that.
Dude, I've seen you around for a long time. And
Yeah.
and I don't think we've ever had like a conversation. I think we met in passing a few times.
Yeah, like, what's up, dude? Awesome
yeah.
show, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. But not a, sit down, cohesive
Conversation. Yeah. and it's really difficult. I explain that to a lot of people about the podcast too, is that it is really difficult to be at a bar, especially when your band is about to play or when you've gotten done playing, because you're either ready to set your shit up or, to get on stage, you know what I'm saying? Or you're getting your stuff off of stage and you're just like unwinding and everybody's high-fiving you or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard to go. It's like, hey man, haven't seen you in a while. Here's a beer. Good to see you. Got to run. All right. You know what I mean? You can't sit down and have a real conversation with someone, and that's really difficult. And what I love about this podcast is that when you hear good bands, right? Good people in good bands, and you want to showcase those bands, right? Mm-hmm. You're allowed to kind of, with this type of format, you could sit down and you could talk about where you guys have come from, what you guys are into, and I love all that stuff. It's some of my favorite stuff because I'm such a huge fan of music. Yeah. I like all types of music, and you know, a lot of times, I mean, with my past format, I would allow the guests to bring in music and things that inspired them. I don't do that anymore because now I'm doing the video thing, and it's, you know, on YouTube you get blasted for the, you know, playing national stuff. They'll just mute all your stuff, which really sucks because it's not. I mean, you can make money obviously if they monetize you, but it's, you know, for me, I'm just trying to, you know, push the love of music to everybody else. You know, this is what I dig. And, you know, with you guys releasing some new material, it kind of works out really well. And you know, you're able to play a couple tunes before. So Lost Paradise was the first one. Now, is this something that you guys had released for a little while?
Oh, man. I believe it's been, a couple months.
September 9th is when it actually like came out on like public.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now,
so it's been out there.
Okay. And you guys, do you guys have a video for this one as well?
Not a music video. We have like just a lyric video.
Lyric video.
Which, by the way, our one of our guitarists, Justin Crandall.
Yeah.
It was his first attempt at diving into that.
Sure.
So he actually made that entire lyric video.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
those are difficult, man. You get them to pop in and move and spin and.
Dude, he let us know.
Yeah, he was like,
he let us know the stress.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, we're blessed to have the dude in the band. He works hard as hell.
Keyframe central right there. That's what those are. Is every time you move it to a certain spot, you got to mark a keyframe. And then you move it, you mark a keyframe. So it's like it really is that difficult. It's like stop motion video.
I think he even described a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So man, I tip my hat to him for
Yeah,
taking that on,
seriously.
because normally we'll just. He was like, "Yeah, I know why you pay a few $100 for this sort of thing, because it's work."
Like, it took him like hours to do it too, and it's just like it's inspiring, honestly. Like,
well,
everything he's
that's
done.
Justin though. You know what I mean?
Dude, he's awesome. I love Justin.
It's in his blood.
You know, I seen him with Death Row Martyrs, where I met Justin for the first time, and through the years, man, I've seen him change into this beautiful human. You know, he's always been a good guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course,
but now he's a father, married, and a father. And dude, congratulations, by the way. He just had a baby, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I bet you got his. I bet you got his figure back right away too, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Are you referring to dad bod?
Yeah, no. I was saying that he had the baby. Never mind.
Wah, wah, wah.
Thank you.
what's
Thank you
going
for
on
that.
here?
Yeah, exactly. Believe me, coming from me, there will be no dad bod jokes at all. There will be no body shaming from me at all. So how long has the band been a band?
Was it
Well-
a year, right? Or over a year, maybe?
So, it was kind of established. The project was established even before I joined.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with Mark, which I can kind of consider the father of the band.
Yeah, so Mark
With Brady here.
So basically, Dreams Aside actually first was a studio project
Okay.
that Mark Hall had going just to like get some of his other like solo material out.
Right.
And then one day he hit me up and was like, "Dude, we should actually like do this as a band." And I was like, "Sign me up! I love your music, so I love what you can do with other band, other project with the other band, I'm in or whatever too." And so I was just like, "Dude,
You're allowed to say that.
yeah, Smiling Play. I'm also in Smiling Play. So like, and like just his writing style. We did Sumerian back in the day too.
Yeah.
Like back in the rock nightclub days, we did Sumerian and stuff. So I just always love his writing.
Right.
And I was like, sign me up.
Yeah.
Where do I sign?
Yeah.
Like, let's play. And so it just kind of grew into that. And then Crandall, we just hit up Crandall because we were like, we need a second guitar player.
Right.
And he was the first one he thought of because we worked with him in Sumerian back in the day too.
Right.
And sure enough, he was on board. And then Mikey, the bass player, was just on board. And we're like, we need a singer.
So
you
maybe
know?
I should interject now.
Yeah,
Because what happened was, I understood it as a studio project,
Right.
And I was like, okay, cool, because like even when I was on my hiatus and I just didn't do anything with bands for almost a decade,
Right.
I was like, okay, well, this is kind of like what I'm willing to do.
Right.
It's kind of like like, hey, if you want my voice on something, if you have a song, hit me up. I'll do that. I just won't join a band right now. Was my mentality. So they got a hold of me and they said, hey, oh yeah, we got like John Howard for one of your songs.
So what we did was there's this like way Mark knows like a way where you can get like well-known vocalists to do
Sure.
like stuff for your,
Yeah.
or whatever, like recordings.
Sure.
So our first song we ever released was John Howard with Threat Signal, and it was called Harbinger. And we dropped that, like, dude, it was like 2019. It's like right when we first started doing this. And then we had Bjorn Strud of Soilwork do another song called Sleepwalker, which we're
Well, we got
doing
something
some
in the
magic
works.
with that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. There's gonna be let's just say there's gonna be a second release of that song with a different vocalist on it.
Awesome.
I wonder who that is. Just joking.
But so and they approached me with, okay, you got these guys. Okay, so it's that type of project where you just want to experiment with other vocals. I'm on board. Cool.
Yeah.
So the first song I recorded with Dreams Aside was called The Afterthought. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. Awesome. Sat with that, wrote it, we released it. We have a lyric video for that. And then I was like, cool, you know, awesome. Let me know if you guys got anything else. Well, okay. Here
And
comes.
they were probably going,
Okay. Well, that's the story's getting there. So they presented me with another song called Defending Silence. And mind you, like so far, all the songs that they have that have been presented, that the guys wrote, they already had a name to it. And what I did was, you know what? Let me keep the name you named it and kind of write it around that subject. So far, every song I have not named except Lost Paradise. So every song that you have on there, it's like Heavy. That was always its name.
Right.
Defending Silence. That was always its name. So I'm like, okay, well, let me think on this subject and write something to it. And that's kind of how the songs came about.
Yeah.
So Defending Silence came around. And I'm like, okay.
I would welcome that stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's like a challenge now. you know?
Yeah. And it's not necessarily a way I've written before. So I'm like, you know what? Let this be like this project kind of be as fluent as possible, right? So Defending Silence came about, and then I wrote to that, we released that, and that's when we had a visit, because we kind of established the 5-piece as it is during the COVID thing.
It's all
So
COVID. Yeah, it was just like
if we were locked up inside, we would just have, I think we had a video call is when the decision came about. So we all say, hey.
It was kind of, it was one of those things, like Facebook video where we're like, we all like huddled up before we got Jerry on the line. It was like, we got to get this guy. we got to get this guy in the band, just the chemistry with everybody and stuff like that. And sure thing, we just asked him flat out. We're like, yo, want to do this, actually be in the band?
Take the next step.
Take the next step.
Unbeknownst to me, they had already devised this master plan. But I was like, we had to talk, we went through just talking to each other and getting to know where everyone is and like what we don't want to relive based on the past projects we've been in.
Yeah.
And when we were all on board and we allowed everyone to like, this project is something that we're just going to let ourselves just be fluent, free. Everyone's ideas are welcome, and we'll see what amalgamates from that.
Yeah.
And everyone was on board, and it's like, okay, we were on the same page, and that's like, let's make it official.
Half the fucking battle right there.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. So it's we really had to vet. It's like, dude, I was saying, like, we got to vet each other right now, because it's like, if we go down the same route of like being miserable, not being able to get your ideas out, someone never compromising at least.
Yeah.
With, whether it's a design choice or a song direction, it's like, no, everyone's ideas get out, and we'll put our own flavor to whatever comes each other's ways.
Yeah.
I mean, which is kind of like where the name kind of originates from, if I'm not correct. Like,
I mean, Mark, I've always wanted to ask Mark exactly where he got the name too. I think it was kind of because of the fact it started as like a solo project. It was like almost he's putting his dreams aside. So basically, after Sumerian broke up, he started doing this Dreams Aside thing, and maybe it was had something to do with maybe like he wasn't in any band and he wasn't like gigging or anything, so it was kind of like his like studio project like this. I think maybe that's why he named it Dreams Aside.
Oh yeah,
maybe something like that.
These are where I'm placing my
I've yet to
brains.
ask. I have to ask him about that too. Like
now, and Mark, if you're
elaborate.
listening, and you can correct me later.
Yeah, I don't know.
But what I gathered was, the aspirations, things we wanted to let out, part of us through our art, which we couldn't do in the past necessarily the way we wanted to.
Right.
Is this project is now something where we can all those dreams that were set aside, we can now present.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
something like that.
I like both. How about that?
Yeah.
let's put them all on the table.
Yeah,
Let's
you know?
Yeah, but so I mean, I remember asking Mark about that because I'm pretty sure he was the one who named it.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely him. Like I said, it was like it was his basically side project.
Yeah.
Or as far as like his studio project in his room, and then it just kind of grew, and due to COVID and recent events, and linking up with these musicians here, it turned into another band.
So putting it all together during this whole COVID thing. Now, how was your guys' trials and tribulations with that deal? That's obviously really difficult thing because you can't get into a studio really for the most part. You know what I mean? It's difficult. You're worried about being sick or getting someone else sick or all of that. We're still worried about that stuff right now. We were at a show on Saturday, we ran into each other and I know at least 2 or 3 people that got sick from that show.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, this week. Yeah, I was actually tagged in a couple things because I had hugged a couple people that actually did get sick, which is fucking nuts. You know what I mean? You're not going to know for a couple days to up to 7 days.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing we can do is take it step by step.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
I think people are just always. I think you just keep, educating yourself on stuff.
Yep, sure.
I mean, this thing kind of came like I don't know the metaphor I want to use here. Like, it just kind of like boom, it was there. It's like in the beginning, everyone was kind of like, okay, we've never experienced something like this before.
You know what I
so
thought?
let's kind of like.
I thought bird
gauge
flu,
this.
swine flu. Right.
Yeah.
So we had this big uproar about this was coming and that it was moving around, like countries. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then it was like it never got here. So when I heard about COVID, when it first started coming up, I was like, man, it's gonna be like one of them swine flu shits. It ain't ever gonna even come here, And then looking back, I remember. Right in the time frame, they said it was like over here a year before they even really announced it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that was kind of weird to me.
yeah,
Like something that's supposedly going to be one of the most deadliest things roaming around.
right,
You think we would get on that right away?
right. Well,
But then we found out what the heck a year before.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why wait that long?
Yeah, the time frames were just so crazy.
Yeah, and I think part of why there's so much division on this whole thing is because there's too much that just seems to be inconsistent.
right,
If every party was on board and there was consistency, I think moving any which way would come more natural.
Yeah.
Because it never was,
yeah,
is why you have people butting heads on the whole issue.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, I told people right away, my close friends, my family, all of them. All of the theories that you've heard of how it came to be, you could never definitively just say, oh, yeah, that's what it is. But all of those things that people have said, it's like, fuck, it totally could have happened that way. You know what I mean? It could have been made in a lab. It could have been, you know what I mean? Okay,
so
somebody ate a bat in a fucking open air market. You know what I'm saying?
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah,
Where's he? Where's he on this?
There's COVID.
Shit, he's probably like, you're all a bunch of pussies. I chew up bats for the fun of it. That type of shit.
He's probably immune to everything now.
Right, exactly.
Right.
If anybody has the cure for COVID, it's Ozzy Osbourne.
So did you guys find a lot of time to be creative during this whole lockdown and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, for me especially, because it's like a part of me. It's like we always say the same cliche. Every musician knows it. You don't choose it chooses you.
Right.
So it's like it's something that we have to kind of do.
Yeah.
So being able to sit there, especially being a part of a band now, it's like, wait, now I'm really like I'm responsible for like coming up with these melodies and these lyrics and putting that part of me out there so people.
Now, is that something that you do on the regular basis? Do you write a lot?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times I don't always put my ideas down on paper.
Yeah.
I used to do that a lot, but now it's just kind of like concepts,
Sure.
and the words are just gonna come. I'm gonna sit there and like change words around anyway.
Right.
But if I have a concept, well, then that's kind of like
You're
the,
working
the
inside
child.
a structure. Yeah.
Yeah. So the lyrics can come later, and it's like sometimes I'll even like listen to the song that like either Justin or Mark brings me, and I'll just sit with them like what's the personality of the riffs?
Right.
What keys are being used? Is there a story there? I mean, sometimes I might come up with a melody first. It's like,
Right.
oh, let me just do
You
a
feel
melody.
it. Yeah, you
yeah,
feel it.
you feel it. And all of a sudden, I'll sit with that, maybe sleep on it, come back to it. What words does that melody want to say?
Yeah.
And that's kind of my process when it
yeah.
comes to, regardless if it's like a somber tune, a melodic tune, a sad tune, an angry tune.
Sure.
Sometimes I don't know how much of our catalog so far that we've released that you've listened to yet, but you have Lost Paradise that we just played.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different song than, say, something like The Afterthought.
Right.
Which is more visceral, but it has a message there.
Sure.
So, I mean, yeah, that creativity is kind of always there. It's not something that's, And sometimes, we always have our dry spells. That's kind of normal.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
whether it's like stress or something else going on, you can almost kind of connect that. I mean, despite what's going on, maybe that's an opportunity to because I'm feeling different today.
Right.
I guess that's a song.
Yeah. I know a lot of vocalists that have a hard time tapping into certain things. Like with me, for a long time, it was writing outside of myself. It had nothing to do with me. It had a lot to do with you know what I mean, evil or anger or hatred or you know what I mean, like this real nasty part of it. And people would always ask me, like, why do you write like that? Like, what is it about the negative part that you write about? When I look at it and when I was writing it, it was more of a purge, so it was a positive thing for me. Like, I'm getting all of this out, like all of these feelings, and I've always explained it to people who didn't listen to the type of music I listened to, at the time. And I'm like, for me, it's like jazz. Heavy metal in general is like jazz, like jazz is very off time, sporadic here and there. You'll have some guys, Charlie Parker or, Coltrane or Miles Davis or somebody like that is very like abstract when they do it, and it doesn't feel and flow like a pop song does. You know what I'm saying? Like a old rock and roll song. And I feel like metal is one of those things that you have to tune your ear to be able to hear certain parts of it. You know what I mean? Like the speed of the music might not be exactly what people like. And a lot of people get hung up on the vocals unless it's singer.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And even sometimes you'll get the singy parts where the melody goes along real heavy, and then they'll get pissed. Let people have it. And they're like, why are they doing that? But they don't understand the structure of the music and how it's kind of like saying a swear word. You know what I mean? Like, you can say, I really don't understand this, or you can say, I really fucking don't understand this. You know what I mean? There's that accent to it,
Well, yeah, I mean, like, cursing has a history, I believe.
Sure.
Now, I'm not well versed on what that history is, but it's almost like, how can I put this? Letters are symbols that when you put them in a congregation to it, they make words. And we call that a what? A spelling.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Take away the ing and it's a spell.
Yeah.
So when people say words mean something, they have precedence on changing or conditioning how you feel.
Sure.
Well, what do you think swear words do?
Right.
They always have an effect. And when you hear people say, well, it's not what you said, it's how you say it.
Right.
There's truth to that.
Absolutely.
Because
Sure.
the tonality, you can say, oh, fuck you, man. And then you can say, fuck you.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
same words, but the tonality.
Yeah.
So that's a part of the sorcery.
Yeah.
That's all around us that maybe we've just become so null to that because it's all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you actually put it into art, well, that's why, even if you don't understand why you like music in general.
Right.
I mean, I think I met one person my entire life that said, which I didn't believe him. He said, I don't listen to music. I don't like music.
What?
That makes me sick to my stomach.
Right?
How?
It makes me want to
It doesn't even need to be what I like, but how do you not like anything when it comes to this beautiful thing, frequency,
Yeah.
that resonates with your brainwaves? And you, what? So what are you then?
Yeah. Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes and his brother, the guitar player, they said something in an interview one time talking about how their music had just hit a frequency of a lot of the same things that they like to listen to and the things that were hits at that time. And they just said that they fell into that range of where their music just felt good to them, and they knew that it made other people feel good, and they knew that the stuff they liked to listen to made them feel good, so they wanted to be in that range, that
that's
frequency.
a real thing.
And I was like, that made a lot of sense. I was like, holy shit, that really does make sense.
I think if you listen to a lot of bands now, say like band you really like, and you listen to their catalog, you start picking up on that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
these guys have found their spot,
Sure.
and that's their formula, that's their sound, and that's
Yeah.
their frequency. If
Yeah.
you
Yep.
listen to a lot of their material,
Yeah.
you know. Now that you've said that, I'm like going back.
Yeah.
My reticular activating system is like going back to past. Oh yeah, now that makes sense because this band does it.
Yeah.
This band does it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
It's
very
like,
cool.
It's like its own flavor almost. It's like listening to certain bands where it's like they still have that same formula throughout the years.
Yeah.
But then things change. Like the album coming out besides the last album, it's like it evolutionizes every time, kind of thing. So it's like they still have the same sound, but like the next album might sound slightly different though.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and there's like consistency.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm gonna bring this band up again. So Seven Dust.
Yeah, exactly.
I like listening to them.
Yeah.
If you listen to like a Home,
Yeah.
and then you listen to like a Seasons,
Yep.
two different sounding albums, but within the album, from beginning to back,
Oh,
it
you
has
know
its
it's them.
freak.
Yeah.
It has,
Yeah.
and plus it has its own flavor, its own frequency
Yep.
within albums. You know,
Yeah.
Cold Day Memories,
Yeah,
one of
I
my
was gonna say,
favorite. You know, Kill the Flaw. And I find this with a lot of bands I listen to. It's like, you know what? God, what's that Fear Factory album with the was it Obsolete?
With the spine on the front of
Spine
the
on
brain.
Yeah, I
Brain
think
and spine?
is it Obsolete?
I
Yeah,
believe so.
Yeah, listen to that album, and you can tell. Yeah, from the beginning, it has its frequency.
Yeah.
As
That's all
opposed-
Dino though, man.
it's
Jesus.
all
Yeah,
Dino.
yeah.
All Dino.
As opposed to like a demanufacturer, that has its own flavor too. But
Sure.
they're not comparing together. Then you can tell they're a little different, but it's still them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that whole frequency thing got me on a.
So now I want to kind of back up a little bit because with the person that you said doesn't listen to music. Now I want to kind of tap in that. So I always like to ask this question. I usually do it right away in the beginning, but what were your folks listening to as a kid? What was buzzing around in the air as a kid in your home? Brothers, sisters, moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, whoever was in your home or where you went. You know what I mean? Your family. What were you listening to as a child, as a kid?
Man,
From the time that you can actually remember music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. God, I'll start on
Yeah,
this
you
one.
find, yeah.
Believe it or not, my mom's was very religious. Well, she still is kind of religious.
Sure.
Yeah. So a lot of it was like gospel stuff going on in the household, but outside of that, just kind of like the stuff they grew up as. Because I don't know if people know this, but my parents were born in Nigeria.
Okay.
So they came over here, and I was born in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time, they'd have like just kind of the stuff they'd listen to, like the Native African stuff.
Sure. Which is absolutely fucking amazing, by the way.
It's cool stuff. I mean, I don't. If people don't listen to it, they wouldn't know to listen for it in my singing style.
Sure.
But once they listen to that, it's like, and now that I know like Jerry is like Nigerian, that melody, his melody style is kind of reminiscent of,
Sure.
kind of that really melodic stuff that
Right.
they do,
To me, that's why I ask these type of questions, because honestly, when you're exposing something like that, you know what I mean? People that know you for a long time
might not even know that. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Because I mean, like you said, until we're in this kind of setting,
Yeah.
how are you going to have these type of real conversations
Right.
with people?
Right.
I mean, everyone's kind of on their purpose or
Yep.
whatever they're doing in their day
Yeah.
to day. So, yeah. But other than that, my mom, I don't know if she still listens to her, but Dolly Parton,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Travis,
Oh,
Right.
wow, yeah.
yeah, Billy Ray Cyrus,
Sure.
yeah. My dad was he kind of like gravitated to that stuff too, but he really liked Elvis Presley, so, and that's just, I don't know if they were just kind of like, because they're immigrants, so
Time frames.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
kind of, it was a different time, and on top of that, maybe they're trying to like acclimatize to America a little
Sure.
bit more. So
And those stories, from just the people that you said out loud. I mean, all of those musicians, you know what I'm saying? The stories that came along with their catalogs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Dolly
yeah.
Parton, Randy Travis, all those country stories from back in the days type of shit
Yeah.
are so much different than the stuff that's out now.
it's
you know what I
hard,
mean?
yeah.
yeah, it's hard to even call it the same thing.
Same thing. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but then, oh God, there's one time that like, say me and my brothers were driving around with my dad. He had some things to take care of, but he would take us on road trips or just run his errands, and he blast like 101.3.
Right.
And there's, back then it was like a lot of different things from like light rock to hip hop and stuff like that.
Yep.
So we kind of be exposed to that.
Yep.
One of my brothers kind of gravitated more to the hip hop stage.
Sure.
And I was never really. I was kind of partial to that because what spoke to me was more of like the rock and the metal stuff.
Sure.
And even like in my writing style, I do some flows here and there.
Sure.
I do put up the rhythmic rhyming schemes and all that.
Sure.
I think Defending Silence
Yeah,
is
I
a
was
good
gonna say,
example.
yeah, that's a great
of
example
our
of that.
songs where I unleash some of that. And in the past with Osteria, one of my first bands,
Yeah.
I was kind of like doing that stuff too. But there's one time I was like rummaging through my dad's CD collection. I actually found a Skid Row CD, and that reminded me of something because my dad, rest his soul, he's not here anymore, but he. One of his best. One thing I remember, he told me like, I don't have very many friends.
Yeah.
The people we invite over, we host. I don't really consider my friends. They're acquaintances we've known back at home,
Right.
Overseas. But my best friend, before your brothers were born, I forget his name. I forget the best friend's name, but I remember him. He's a white guy. My dad came here for on a visa for engineering,
Right.
and one of his friends was doing that too. So he would like work. They would work on each other's bikes and stuff, and. He had a kid. His best friend had a kid my age, so we would come and hang out, and they'd shoot shit. And he told me that was my best friend.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a white guy with a mullet. But I because going back to the whole thing with me finding that Skid Row CD, I wonder if he influenced him, and I'm like, Skid Row, let me pop this in,
Right.
Because my dad was kind of all over the place when it came to music.
Yeah.
So I popped this in, I'm like, yeah. Okay. So I think what really got me to really consider a band was when I heard like 1999 Slipknot's album.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got this fucking white dude with a dreadlock mask over his face.
Yeah.
That is spitting flows
Yeah.
better than a lot of shit I'm hearing right now.
Right.
And it was the screams on that was just so visceral. I'm like,
Not to mention the live show.
Oh my gosh, the live.
So I'm like, and a lot of people don't know, like my screaming style is, it's pretty much Corey Taylor was one of my influences, as well as rest his soul, Matt Holtz.
Yeah.
From Nothing Face. If anyone remembers that.
Oh,
band,
yeah. I see
it's
Nothing
everything
Face.
you know about me. You say it's true, but till I know about your ways, so you.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my gravitate style. So like I was in, was it 7th or 8th grade? And I was like under everyone's just like doing their work that the teacher gave us. And I was under my breath, like singing some Slipknot stuff.
Yeah.
Since you never gave a damn in the first place, man. So, and then there's this other kid in the class named Mike Marson that's like, you know what?
Yeah.
He was like, dude, I hear you singing under your voice.
Stop, drop, and roll. Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, dude, I play guitar. Do you want to like come over and like maybe do you want to like try writing some stuff? I'm like, okay. I was like, why not? It's like, so, and that's kind of like my first kind of introduction into like working with someone else. And that was back in high school. So,
It chose you.
it
was
chooses us.
It chose you right there, man.
Yeah. So
That's pretty deep.
yeah. So a little bit of the history. And then after that, well, then all the floodgates are open. It's like, well, started to listen to bands like System of a Down, Boba Flex, even some like
2000s type of stuff.
yeah. So like the new metal stage, I
Yeah,
kind of
new
went.
metal.
I
There you
kind
go.
of got into that with the Limp Bizkit and stuff like that too.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Just
I love even to this day, you know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah,
making their comeback and shit, and it's
new
like
album,
people
right?
still fucking go,
Yeah, whatever.
Like fucking shy away from it a little bit, but hey, you know what? That's part of the history of it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's all about. Now, do you find it odd, or do you find it that other black folks like look at you like, when it comes to heavy metal. Now, I don't, and the reason I ask that is because I've always wondered this thing. You know what I mean? Because a lot of black folks are into R&B, rap, things like that. And you said you do like rap, and you like stuff like that.
I'm very particular about
Sure.
what I decide to digest.
Sure.
Because a lot of it is like I tell right away if like the lyrical content is garbage to me.
Yep.
It's like out the door.
Out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just listen to anything and call it fucking
Good.
Picasso.
Yeah, for sure.
Period.
Right, yeah.
You know. So and I'll do that with all music too.
Yeah.
Even like the genres I like listening. It's like okay.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people. I'm not saying MJK doesn't have fans, but
Right.
it does not speak to me.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, there's no substance there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that
I
there,
hear that shit
That doesn't
so much, bro.
That does not mean that there isn't a market for that, because
Sure.
if there wasn't, then he wouldn't be a thing.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's a
it
dude
does,
who
it does
who's-
not speak to me
who's
at all.
been able to interject himself into different things, man.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of silly how it all happened.
But
with that.
I mean,
that.
within evil lies the roots of its own destruction. So I mean, if you can inject yourself anywhere you want,
Yeah.
but if you keep burning bridges, eventually you're not going to have a place to hide.
yeah,
Okay, and I'll leave it there. But to answer your question, I don't, and I don't want to go down the conditioning, the neurological, social conditioning route. But when people look at you with a judgmental manner,
yeah,
when I see that, even when it's towards me, it's like, because it's a conditioning, because of your experiences, and because of what you've chosen to follow, and because I don't fall into that frame.
Thank you.
I don't know if there's even a conversation to be had, because you're going to be stuck in what your conditioning is,
Sure.
so to speak, programming, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, we all have a programming.
Sure.
The key is, what programming are you aligning yourself with?
Right.
Okay, we have no choice but to be conditioned by something.
Sure.
Yeah.
But clearly, the programming that I'm under doesn't mesh with the programming you're under, and the programming you're under is something that is kind of grotesque to me.
Right.
You can be or listen to whatever you want. That freedom I will always respect.
Right.
Right. And if you're banging something out that I don't like, I'm not gonna
Turn a nod.
turn a nod and give you a dirty face.
Yeah.
So the question is, why is that okay for you to do to me?
Right.
And therein lies which programming you're under, which programming is better.
Right.
I'm going to leave that up to the people listening to answer that question for yourselves. So I don't even
Let it.
I don't even notice it anymore. So if it is happening still,
Right. Now,
yeah, you got a black guy
now-
singing,
now
screaming in a fucking rock metal band.
Your way of looking at that, man, really speaks volumes to who you are, and how to be able to put it like that is fucking magnificent, man. Honestly, because if you don't subscribe to that nonsense, you know what I mean, it no longer affects you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's true. We had a conversation before we went online about this stuff, just in your conditioning with religion, with certain things.
Yeah,
you were forced or taught to believe these things without giving a choice. You know what I'm saying? So you're subscribed to it. You're into it. You're forced into it, and then all of a sudden it becomes
you.
or it becomes a point where you just totally go the opposite direction from it too. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I just find that's a really great way to put it, man, and I appreciate that very much. And it's fucking a great way to look at life, man. You know,
In
what I'm
general.
saying?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, you can't.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I'm gonna drop my whole fucking rig.
Oh.
How about you, man? What got you?
Oh, man.
Got you started on this road here?
So my dad is big into 80s rock, and kind of it all started with like Journey and stuff like that when I was like little.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, you gotta check these guys out. I'm like,
You mean classic rock?
classic rock? Yeah, classic rock, exactly. It all started there, and I just kind of one thing led to another. And I remember going to, speaking of Limp Bizkit, I was like young or whatever, and I went to Best Buy, bought the Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water album or whatever, and I was like 9. They shouldn't have sold it to me because it was like 17 and older, but
Explicit.
and I was a tall kid, so they probably just thought I was 17. But Yeah, and I play that from start to finish. And one time, it was Christmas, family Christmas, and I was so obsessed with that album. It's so funny, but that one song that they have where it's like F this, F that, F that, blah 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 or whatever. I was like, can I listen to this CD and we can put it on like the stereo at Christmas? And they're all cooking the turkey dinner or whatever, and all of a sudden, effed up moms, effed up dads, effed up bitch. And then my mom was like, turn that off, turn that off.
Yep, embarrassed as hell.
Right, and I was like,
What form of degradation is
it's
this?
good. It's good, you know. And so started that, and then like when I started doing drums and stuff like that, I started off with like Iron Maiden, Metallica, you know, your obviously like thrash metal and stuff or whatever, but Iron Maiden was the first one. Like I saw like this 1990 Raising Hell. It was like a Raising Hell DVD, and I saw that and I was like, I want to be like Nico McBrain. This is amazing. Like the Eddie dude, like walking the stage and stuff, and that's what really got me hooked. And then Metallica, and then after that Megadeth, and I started going down that like spiral.
The spiral of metal.
First thing though, this is before YouTube was even around. It was like, was it like streaming? I don't even remember. It was like kind of like almost like a streaming service, but it was End of Heartache, Kill Switch Engage, and I saw that was from that Resident Evil movie.
Right.
I saw that too, and I was like, I want to play drums. At first, I want to do guitar.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody wants to go down that route, guitar route.
Did
whatever.
you? Did
you go down the guitar route?
No, man. I started with keys.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
so, I mean, everything I know is self-taught. I gotta get my ass moving on this because I want to take piano lessons.
Right.
But I mean, I can play some stuff that makes it sound like I have piano lessons, but I don't.
Yeah.
So it's all just self-taught stuff, and that kind of like led me because I like melodies so much that kind of like prompted me to go towards the singing route. So harmonies, melodies, and all that's good stuff. But yeah, it was never guitar for me.
Yeah, it's just Kill Switch Engage, like Howard Jones. Don't get me wrong, I love Jesse Leach and I love the older stuff too, but it was like that one DVD that came out, like Set This World Ablaze. They did all that little songs off that End of Heartache album, and I was like, dude, Bid Farewell, I was like, oh, I want to play that music so bad.
So let me ask you this. Now with the guitar thing, did you buy a guitar? Did you get all full into that thing?
So what happens, I started out playing guitar, and I hated it because my fingers are so like fat and beefy that I would play like the riff or whatever, and I would get like fret buzz.
Yeah.
And I was like, finally, I was like, screw this. Yeah. I'm done doing this. And then I was like, I want to play drums, and God forbid.
But you were already bit by the music bug. So
exactly. So I was already bit by the music bug, and then all of a sudden, I asked my parents, like, can I buy a drum set? And like, my mom was like, no, you were not buying a drum set, and my parents are divorced or whatever. So then my dad was like, yeah, you can buy it. I'll buy the drum set for you. You just got to keep it at your mom's.
That's hilarious, dude.
It was like, because they were like,
Oh yeah, the setup, dude.
The battle has begun.
Yep.
And
it's like buying your nephew or something a fucking one of those toys and like, hey, and fucking spins around on the floor.
And my mom agreed with my dad. Was like, all right, because she wanted me to do something like musically inclined too, and so, but then they dealt with it. I praised my mom and my stepdad for years of dealing with me learning drums because it was in the basement, it was in the garage, and then my first high school band, we practiced in my parents' basement, and it drove my stepdad bananas. Like, it was to the point where he like yelled at us, was like, get out of my house, because I don't blame him. Like, now, back then I was like, dude, what the heck, man, I want to play drums. And then nowadays, like, being an adult, it's like, man, he had every right to get mad. I would be so mad,
but big ups to your family though when it comes to that, because
my parents, my mom, my stepdad, my
back
dad.
in the day, man, that's where we practiced, is in my buddy's basement, and we would drive his folks right out of the house. They would be nowhere to be found after 2-3 songs. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, we got some shit to do down the street. You know what I mean? So we drove them right out. So, kudos to them, because dude, I used to do this back in the day too. When you see parents bring their kids to a show, I would always be like, thank you for passing on this lifestyle to them. You know what I mean? Because once you get bit by that bug, it's so difficult to. You're either going to go full on, or you're just going to be like, yeah, I like listening to it. I don't, you know what I mean?
And I had that bug, and I just kept wanting to play and play and play, and went through a couple bands, and I've been doing the band thing ever since.
Yeah.
Basically, I've always been in a project. Like, I don't think I've ever, like, not, just because I always wanted, like, when something kind of, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm always having that bug of doing music.
Right.
I need to always be doing music. It
Right.
doesn't matter. Like, for a while, I did a DJ and drummer project because I wasn't in any bands, but I still wanted to play live drums. And I was like,
That's
I'll
still
do
awesome,
it.
man.
I'll
Yeah.
do it. And it was like Michael Jackson, like top 40 hits, basically. And I was just like, I just want to do this live.
Yeah.
Like, so we did like the DJ and drummer thing, just because for the time I wasn't really in a band.
Yeah.
And then I joined it Smiling Politely or whatever, right when I was doing that. So it was just always
Into the
something.
next thing.
Yeah. And then I want to start this project with Jerry and the guys too, because I just like Mark's writing and the music spoke to me. And then I've always liked him as a singer too, even back in the day, because my band Sumerian used to gig with, I think it was Daybreak Medusa. I think at the time.
Daybreak Medusa.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the band,
Yep.
dude.
Yep.
If it wasn't Osteria, then
It was Daybreak for me.
I've seen both of them.
Yeah,
I've seen
Daybreak
both.
kind of like Daybreak kind of melded from Osteria after
Yeah.
some we had some member change ups. So when I mentioned Mike Marson, who used to be a Vane.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was the first musician I actually ever worked with.
Right.
Back in I told you the high school story
Yep.
of me. Yeah, so that was him, and when him and I didn't really establish a band or anything.
Right.
I kind of started working with some guys that I knew. Adam Benson from Mirror of Being, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Him and I were in a band back in high school called he calls it Corporal Punishment. I call it Decay or Damage. It's one of those things where
Like, which name?
it was both names because we couldn't really sit on it.
Yeah.
I like this better. He was like, well, the high school bullshit. But
Yeah.
so I was in that high school band for a while. But yeah, I can't even remember how that just kind of faded. I can't even remember that.
Adam
I mean,
Benson, dude. You know when
yeah, Mirror of Being.
when-
You were just at that
The
damn
show.
show that I was at with Bud. You and Bud
Yeah.
were doing
Yeah.
photography.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Adam Benson, when I first met him, I was like, "There's no way that this dude is as heavy as he is." And I'm like, they just turned him down or something. Dude's heavy as
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
balls,
Yeah.
dude.
The
They
whole
could
band
throw
is
down.
dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, the other guitarist
so
too.
dope.
We went to
Yes.
high school. Mark was Messier. So
Yeah. He's amazing. They're both amazing.
yeah, they're both cool. The whole band's cool. I mean, I talked to the singer sometimes I'm up in Apple Valley, where he lives, and we're just having drinks and.
I say, don't they have a show like this weekend? I think.
Yeah, 13
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Holy
'cause-
shit! Yeah, that's right.
because,
so we're plugging these guys.
I mean,
But
Let's
We
see.
I
are,
don't.
let's do it right.
Yeah, I don't know if I even answered your question. I just went off on a tangent.
it's all good.
What the heck?
That's what this is all about.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
isn't that the truth, man? Man, what was I gonna say? Because I felt I had something real good too, but I can't remember. Do you remember what the heck?
I don't even,
I don't know if I even answered your question, dude.
What was it?
I know it's so free flow.
because we were talking about Daybreak to Medusa, and then you went into
Daybreak Medusa.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. So Mike Marson was after John Keefe and James Sanders left.
Yeah.
Mike Marson was, I mean, he wasn't doing the Vane thing at the moment, I think. So he came and joined, and that's kind of like, so it was Jamal Carlson bass, Jim Kozlowski on drums, me on vocals, and then Mike Marson on guitar. And we went through a couple keyboard players. So, yeah, we never really had that. I don't think we had a steady keyboard players since the memorial of the band, but
Yeah.
keyboards was important to us, so
That's
we
what
went that route. I love keyboards. I mean, obviously, that's one of the first musicians I started off with. So
Yeah.
Daybreak Medusa came kind of molded out of Osteria,
Yeah.
and then it was more like a melodic style, kind of like the beginnings of my full singing style that I have now,
Yep.
kind of like originated from
Yep.
from out of that, because I wasn't really singing that way in Osteria. It's more of kind of like a. What did Justin compare it to? 40 Below Summer or
40
something
Below
like that?
Summer. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, because I did a lot of like the fast-paced rhyming, screaming stuff
Yep.
with kind of like a melody here and there.
Yep.
So I don't know. So yeah. By the way, I don't know. It might be a good time to plug this, but
Always a good time.
if we don't have a show prior to this, it's in the books that May 14th?
It's I believe.
Yeah, so May
It's still in
14th.
the works. and
Yeah,
stuff,
May
but-
14th. still tentative on like the other. We've been talking to some people, and we just need to work out the logistics with these guys.
Solidify some things.
Yeah, we got some bands that we have in mind, like Mirror of Being.
Yep.
And X Regime, but it's still tentative at no. But right now we have it in the books of the Lupulin Brewing Company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
if we don't have a show prior to that, then that will technically be our first debut.
Man.
Yeah,
man.
it's all in like in the works and stuff like that. But that's kind of tentatively kind of what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
We're still wrapping up some stuff
Right.
on the album and stuff. Like we still have some work and stuff. But that's kind of like I would say that's definitely like what we're looking at.
Sure.
Right now.
The Mirror of Being show that we were talking about, not to interrupt, is tomorrow at the Midway Saloon in St. Paul, 1567 University Avenue. I'm starting to get old, dude. My eyes are going bad, dude. I'm having a hard time seeing this shit. With Silic and, let me see, Darkwing. They're playing there. That's tomorrow night at the Midway Saloon. So go check that out.
So if you like some metal,
Yep.
go
Heavy
check
stuff.
them out. Good, cool guys, man.
Yes.
Very cool guys. So.
Yes.
Might have to show up for that actually. 'Cause
Lots of good stuff.
You might have to.
They put on a
Holy shit.
fantastic show, man. They put on a great show.
Yeah. So
Let me see here. I wrote down a couple things. It is very free flowing with the show, but sometimes I'll just we did talk about the instruments. We did talk about the COVID stuff. How much material do you guys have right now? I know you've released a few things, right?
yeah. Okay. So we're working towards an album, and I think by the time we're done. Is it going to be 12 with the bonus tracks, or is it going to be 14 with the bonus tracks?
I think it's 12.
Is it 12?
Because we're gonna have obviously we're gonna have the 2 bonus tracks of.
But it's 12 without those, or is it 12 with those?
I think it's.
Well, anyway,
12.
I
It's
can
something
I can
we'll have
I
to
can
look at
count
it.
it in my head
Yeah,
right
it's like
now.
12
But
or something. we have it all.
so
lined out
I
and
mean,
stuff.
the things that we've released: Defending Silence, The Afterthought, Heavy. Just recently, Lost Paradise,
September 9th. Yeah.
and Sleepwalker, which we did release with Bjorn, but
Yep.
that's going to be another song on there with another singer, and then
Another singer.
yeah. So we're working on a song right now called "Waiting," but that might not be our next release. I'm fairly certain the next release we have is, and I might as well just plug this now.
Yeah, do it.
Is called Reflections, which has actually been ready, but we cut a video for it.
Okay.
So it's going to be the first time people get to see us in music video form.
Like as a band.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I guess I'm going to plug the guy we're working with, Adam Standen,
Phenomenal
himself.
work.
He's got a passion for his art,
Aesthetic
and it
visuals,
shows,
yeah.
man. So
Yep.
if you're listening, Adam, we're just plugging you out, man. Check him out. He's got a repertoire of things out there right now. So
I think his company's called Aesthetic Visuals. It's like this like moniker that he works.
Okay.
Dude, he's phenomenal work.
Yeah.
He's done stuff for so many bands locally too, like Eon's
Yep.
latest video was he did,
Okay.
and a couple other bands and stuff too. Phenomenal work.
Now with that type of stuff, with his work, what type of visuals does he like to achieve? Are they kind of all over the place, or?
well, what we did, we gave him kind of like a template, an idea of what
Sure.
we were envisioning,
Yep.
and we all kind of we kind of chatted with each other first.
Yeah.
Kind of like, and they, guys wanted to talk to me about like what I was envisioning, and and we all had our 2 cents in that. I mean, some of the ideas that one of our logos right now is like the lotus flower.
Yeah.
And we kind of Justin suggested that we kind of implement that into the video too, so we have that kind of like that symbolism there.
Sure.
So, in Reflections, kind of based, I guess I can tell like what the song is kind of talking about is. It's almost like I have this style of writing where sometimes I want to tell a story. Sometimes it's fictional,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like fantastical too. So, Reflections is about a race of people that encountered a plague on the world that they were on, but it's pretty much well advanced.
Sure.
So what they had to do was escape that planet, and based in the whole process of leaving that, the whole trauma of people dying to a plague or
Right.
having to excommunicate from your home to find a new one. There's a lot of the side that you might not think about is like, well, what's the mental state of this race now?
Right.
It's like that. There's got to be some level of traumatization to that. So the goal is to, well, how do we deal with this? Is the pain so great that we have to almost like put all of ourselves under some sort of like hypnosis?
Right.
Some neurological reconditioning.
Yeah.
It's just so we don't have to deal with that pain. Well,
Right.
and part of the song is like, the chorus goes like, dark night of the soul, the mind forgets what the body remembers, dying to stay alive, so it's like, it's just, telling a story of people being traumatized and going through a process of trying to forget. However, it's very hard to do that when there's always going to be a part of you that has that trauma, whether you can change the mind all you want, but the body still remembers pain.
Right.
It remembers the experience. It's almost imprinted now.
Right.
So you can either deal with it or you can keep running from it, or you can run from it. But what happens usually when it comes to our psychosis, it's going to manifest itself in a worse way.
Yep.
And that's kind of what that song is talking about. It's just,
It's so like, like what's going on now, man.
Well,
He
actually made that connection.
Yeah.
Even though it's like I looked at it, you could almost. There's some comparisons there. So I mean, I'm sure people are gonna listen to the song, especially in this time frame.
Yep.
They're gonna like, oh, he must be talking about what's going on. When actually, no, there is a story behind that prior to this stuff. So, but I mean, that's what music does. I mean, you can listen to, you can go back and listen to stuff 10 years ago. And it's like, It's like, are these guys freaking prophets or something?
Right.
Because that makes so much sense for today's world.
Yeah, you can apply it to so
and
much
that's
stuff,
what's so cool about music. It's like it has multiple meanings. Yeah. Regardless of the story, I just told you about what I was thinking when I wrote this. People are going to listen to it and like, yeah, they're going to conjure up their own meaning, just like Lost Paradise. I mean, I described that song, but, And
I feel like when I hear his, like what songs are about, I almost go down the whole rabbit hole of, like, my personal, like, life.
Sure.
And, like, Reflections means a lot to me on a personal standpoint.
Sure.
I mean, regardless, how he wrote the song, I interpret it in my own way of my life and how, because I went through a lot of, like, I was in a really bad spot a couple months ago, much better now, but basically what I went through at that time frame of my life, like Reflections, like literally speaks to me, because a couple months ago, at the end of the summer, I was really like reflecting on who I am as a person, and where my life was going in multiple different ways. And so hearing what he wrote really spoke to me. Yeah. Regardless if it was about, like how he wrote it, interpreted, like I really interpret his writing, like always, every single song he writes, it's like I get him, like it speaks to me. Yeah. It's like in my personal life, I can relate to it in some way, shape, or form.
Now, are you really relating to the feeling that he's putting off when you're playing it over and over, or did you actually sit down and read the lyrics to it? Or,
like the lyrics.
You like once you read the lyrics and you feel him doing what he's doing, does it apply even more?
It applies even more. Like I feel like the lyrics speak to me a lot. Like we brainwash our minds, the traumatized, like that stuff. Just the mind forgets what the body remembers. Like literally, I was like, dude, like. There was another time we were in the studio and he was writing a song that's upcoming or whatever, and I was like getting not like all emotional and stuff. It's not whatever, but I was like feeling it. Like I was feeling like, dude, this speaks to me, man.
Yeah. And I think you might be talking about waiting.
Yeah, like when you were like writing. Remember, I was like, dude, like record this right now. Yeah.
I feel like. And I write like stuff that I would want to sit back and listen to after it's done.
Yeah.
So and I feel like if I don't. That's why I like to sit with songs for a healthy amount of time. I mean, I'm not going to take 10 years for one song, but a good amount of time because I want to feel out and maybe I want to change this so it can hit the way I want it to hit. Yeah. And waiting was a part of that process, which is one song we're working on right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I don't write something that has substance, so to speak. Sure. We were talking about that earlier with some music. Then I just feel like I haven't done my job. Right. Like if I don't write something that people can actually look at and listen to and then read lyrics even and feel something, then,
you fail.
I feel like I need to sit with this, more in the future.
I think a lot of people should fucking do that. You know what I mean? They should take more time on that, you know?
It's a huge difference, man.
But I think, you know, when I connected with the music, you know, being a vocalist and trying to write to things like that, when I connected with the music of it, it made me perform even more. And after, you know, you learn the learning process. You take so long, you've got a set of songs, and you know that whole set front to back, and then you start interchanging them, and then you start realizing that sometimes the flow feels a little bit better after you switch them up a little bit. Like this one feels good here, or you want to come out of the box right away when you hit the stage. You know, you come out hard and then lull it a little bit, and then finish strong. You know what I'm saying? But being a drummer and someone who really puts the fucking feeling to it, you know, to feel his lyrics and to feel what he's putting down will make you play that much harder. And that, you know, and does. When you connect with it so much, I think, you know, that's what it's always been with me for music, man. When there's something about a song that speaks to you in a second, in a frame, you know what I mean? It's like you hit that frame and bam, you know what I mean? Like I've been listening to this rap cat for a little bit here, and he's like just kind of popping up now. He's like a hick hop rapper, you know what I mean? Which I never thought I'd be fucking saying it. I liked it all. But I seen this dude on TikTok, and his name's Broadnecks, right? He's from Louisiana, and this cat did a 16-bar challenge, right? And he just smashed it, right? So I'm going, who the fuck is this dude?
Yeah.
He's a big dude with a giant beard, right? And he throws down.
Yeah.
So I start researching this cat, figuring it all out, and I found some of his older music, which is titled Mr. Broadnecks. And this dude is substance, positivity, nothing's going to stop me, like... I don't know who's been telling you, but Chow Lane G's, that type of shit. Like
that's awesome, man.
He just lays it out. Today I was listening to something and he's like, I'm so Southern, I put peanuts in my Coke. And I'm like, what the fuck did he say? I backed it up. And then I go, this has got to be a Southern thing. So I look it up, and old farmers, while they were working the farm and with dirty hands, they can't eat peanuts, so they would put them in their Coke, so they would drink on their little break. They'd drink a Coke and eat the peanuts at the same time.
That's awesome.
So me looking that up on Google, I was like,
You're like,
this dude's got some shit right here. You know what I mean? But there's just some lyrics that touch me. Now, I look at my daughter a lot, and my daughter can recite and rhyme and throw things out, and she learns it like that. It's just so quick, like the muscle memory of lyrics, because she's not diluted with a keyboard or a guitar where, you know, when you listen to a song and you say, a bass player goes, dude, did you hear that bass line? And all of a sudden you kind of tune into it. Musicians are able to section everything
Reticular
up,
activating
right?
system
And
based on
you're able to separate and section those off. When you play drums, you hear the drum beat. That's like a main thing you hear. When you're a vocalist, you start with the vocals. Now, you dilute yourself with these instruments. This is what I did, is for many years, like I still wrote the lyrics and everything, but I would key off of different instruments. And then all of a sudden, when I went to go listen to music, I didn't hear the lyrics anymore. I just heard maybe the hook. And then I would hear all the things that connected that hook. So then when somebody would sing this righteous lyric part, you know, just, you know, 4 to 6 bars, you know what I'm saying? I would go, how did you hear that? You know what I mean? And as a vocalist, I'm like, I should hear this. This is my craft. I should be listening to this, but I connect it with all these little sounds. Dun, 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 dun. And then the singer comes in. You know what I mean? You know? And then it, dum, 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 dum. You know what I mean?
Nice.
All of those lyrics, I fucking lost all of that. I don't know what he's saying right there. All I know is, wow, you know what I mean? You just
Kind of
feel it.
listening to it like an organic
Yeah.
animal.
Yeah.
Like it's a beast that you're kind of dissecting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the cool thing about music, because like everyone's it's hard pressed to say that everyone listens to the same thing the same way.
They don't.
So just let's all sit with that, and that's like, because then you have like, let's say 8 million, all the entire planet listens to the same thing. How many are there? 8 million or 8 billion types of universes going on in everyone's head right now? It's
Well,
like,
I
so to connect
I
it-
have many musician friends that are fantastic, talented people. There's so many talented people in the Midwest, in Minnesota, all over the fucking place. There's talented musicians everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I've had multiple friends of mine that we've hung out, listen to music, drinking a few beers, and just going, "Oh man, I love that part," and pointing that out to someone, right? And then the next time, it's like they go, "Oh man, I fucking love that shit," and years will go by, and they go, "Dude, you're the reason I heard this much more of that album," and I'm like, "That's just me hearing it," you know what I mean? And you're just, whoa, right there, and you know what I mean? You're pointing it out. Now you're kind of pinpointing these little things for people, and then when they hear that album, they're like, "Oh," and they point it to someone else, but they're hearing that. So now they're going to go to the next album and go, "What is it in this album? What is it in this song that I'm missing, that I'm not listening to?" You know what I'm saying? I just did it the other day with an Incubus album that I was like listening to these bass lines going, blown away. Like, what in the fuck is this guy doing,
that happens
man?
a lot.
Funky. Dum,
Yeah.
da-dum, dum, da-dum, dum, dum, da-dum, dum, da-dum, dum, boom, da-dum, dum, da-dum, dum, boom.
Yeah,
That
when
was
you
the
finally
whole
separate
groove.
it,
Yeah.
and then you can really hear it,
Yeah.
and then go back to like listening to it as a whole.
Yeah.
After you have a new perspective on every individual part.
Yeah.
I'm listening to this damn song for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, too, like Ryan Martini of Mudvayne.
Oh.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how he literally he goes off on a tangent, and it's like, you know how like a lot of like bass kind of implements with the
band.
guitar, but he
Dude,
does his own
I did
thing.
not
It's just-
appreciate that band until after I appreciated the first two albums. I fucking love those first two albums.
Heck yeah.
But before that, and I hung out with those cats when they were coming up too, you know what I mean? With the Head Charge guys and the Slipknot.
yeah.
I grew up with the
Sweet.
Slipknot guys. So it was like, you know, I started seeing all these people and being I never even fucking
Like,
dude, when I stepped back and was like, Ryan Martini, holy dude, he was a demon, dude. That guy was amazing.
If anyone has a signature bass style sound,
it's
he
him.
does.
Yeah.
He's a
It's
such a
like-
freak.
Dude, you can almost like, even if he played right now, I'm pretty sure by himself, I'm pretty sure I could pinpoint that's him.
Yeah.
That is
his
that is
style
like
is
just
very.
How he plays, he does a lot of slap.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just,
yeah, it's
everything.
like really.
I'm glad I
really
got to open up for him.
nice.
Yeah.
It's just- yeah.
Yeah, very, very cool
Lucky.
opportunity. Yeah, very cool opportunity, man. Very cool. Yeah, that's you know, dude, we've hit music right on the
Right on
button,
the
man. You know what I mean?
Right in the balls, man.
Yes. So influences wise, like what are some of the bands that you love to listen to? Old, new, things that you're listening to right now? Because with me, I could name a million bands I love, but what I'm listening to right now just doesn't reflect all of the things that I listen to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. Oh man.
Let's say for me, I've been listening to a lot of like Degent stuff,
Yeah.
like Architects and stuff like that.
Technical beauty.
Novelists, yeah, and then like I listen to some heavy stuff like Thy Art Is Murder out of Australia. Those guys are phenomenal. Just
I love
everything.
that word. Phenomenal.
Just I love the reason I love them because, you know, a lot of like death metal bands, they do just a lot of blast beats and stuff, and it's over and over and over and over, and it's like, don't get me wrong, it's technical and I love that stuff, but like they'll do that and then they'll switch into like a just halftime breakdown, really, but it's still technical and it still fits perfectly with the guitar. Like one of my all-time favorite bands. But then obviously as far as like influences with me and my drumming, for sure Killswitch Engage, Seven Dust, Trivium. Like I play a lot of Trivium in the studio at home, you know, or whatever. I play a lot of like Till the World Goes Cold, or like some old Ascendancy stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, so I would say basically Trivium, Seven Dust, and Killswitch Engage are my top three as far as influence and what I listen to. But obviously, I'm all over the board when it comes to like being a listener and a fan.
You ever listen to Misery Index?
I've heard of the name. I don't think so. I don't think.
Dude,
is it? Are they
you
good?
must.
All right, I'm gonna take.
You
your word
like
for that.
fast.
Spotify on the way home. Spotify.
Hold on, let me actually look something up here because I wanna make sure I give you the right
Stuff,
idea on that one. Go
Yeah.
ahead. What how about
Oh
your
man. Man, well, as far as like the heavy stuff, I like a lot of Nemec.
Oh yes.
In Flames. Yeah. I just I like the when it comes in Flays, like the melody aspect.
Now, do you like the older stuff or the newer stuff?
I like both of them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna be.
I know a lot of
bridge a
purists-
dichotomy with that right now. It's
There's a lot of I get both. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
like
people
both
are
of
like,
them.
I love the old In Flames, and then they switched it on it. And
Oh,
it's not,
yeah.
and now they're
You know,
garbage.
it's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
not.
They're
They're
always
not
good.
garbage. They're still heavy as fuck.
yeah. It is. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Their style changed, but this, the main writers are still there, and they want to do what they want to do after they've kind of like already established all that, and it's not like they're saying, "Hey, don't listen to our old albums anymore."
Yeah.
Okay, they're still there.
Yeah.
So chill.
Yeah, yeah.
But God, some MJ too, man.
Yeah.
For some reason, I've been getting back into that. Maybe it's the season. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Popping in that Smooth Criminal, that Thriller,
Dude, I went
Jackson 5 stuff too.
I went off the wall just like a week ago, dude. I just downloaded that shit again, dude. That.
Popping in the ABC.
Yeah. Whoa, dude. Man, he was a damn kid, man.
Yeah, dude. That's what's it's what's so
It's
insane
good
about
stuff
it.
to listen to when I go back to. It's like, man, this is like timeless stuff to me.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man. But yeah, that's what I'm listening to right now. Influences, man. Vocally, Tool, Maynard James Keenan from Tool and Perfect Circle. Like I said earlier, Slipknot.
Now, let me back you up there on Maynard James
okay.
Keenan. Now, what is it that really draws you in with him? Is it his cadence? Is it his delivery? What is it about Maynard that
Yeah,
really
I think it's all those things. But like one of the things I was always impressed by was his ability to. It's almost as if like he could switch his falsetto stuff, full voice stuff, and like yell scream stuff fluently.
Yeah.
I'm like, if this human creature can do this, then that's something to work towards as a vocalist. I think because it really shows how you can make a song flow if you're able to put all these flavors the way he does it. You know, and I'm not saying by any means a stretch of the imagination that I'm gonna ever be able to do what he does, how he does it. But like one of the things that I always criticized myself about was being able to flow the full voice, the screaming into like a falsetto.
right?
And there's
That's
a lot,
tough.
there's a lot of gauges, and I've been implementing a lot more falsetto on our songs that we like. Waiting, I think has some.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah.
Sleepwalker and
Sleepwalker for sure does.
and
I
then
know that.
Reflections, which
And
stay tuned. That's
And a dangerous
can't wait.
to be able to switch between those two. If you don't hit it right,
that's
falsetto will burn it right out.
yeah.
Boy, I'll
Yes.
tell you what, and that's no joke, man.
Yeah. So you really got to work, let that muscle get strong, and understand like how you're using your voice when it comes to like screaming stuff or just like the full voice you singing.
Yeah.
And then breaking it down because like it's the switching, but I think like everybody like who wants to do that falsetto stuff might criticize themselves too harshly.
Right.
It's a muscle. Everything's a muscle. So
Yeah.
just do it now.
Flex it.
Yeah. Let you. I don't like if I'm gonna give anyone vocal advice. It's like doesn't matter how shitty you think you sound. Let your voice grow.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it
Yeah.
and sleep it. Okay. You've used it
Stay
enough.
in your range is one thing that I would always tell someone. Like, don't try to go too far out of your range. Like reaching with falsetto, you're trying to get a nice high bass, but if you go too high, you're just gonna push yourself right over that edge to where it's just gonna crack right off.
And
even with heavy shit, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. If you're you know what I mean? You're curling it with death metal stuff. It's even harder to do that too. You know what I mean? If you can go to a singing voice and you try to go too far out of your range, you're just gonna push yourself over and you're gonna hurt yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's a lot of. My daughter tried to ask me how I'm doing this for so long and how I was able to get the strength out of the deepness and things like that. And I always told her, laying on my back and putting weights on my stomach, right on my diaphragm, was something that I really
that's a cool
that I
exercise.
really tried to do. And what it is that even in a talking, you're talking to singing, not at a high volume, but to get strength to be able to breathe in and out. You know what I'm saying? Like as you do that, you're giving yourself a little bit more strength, and then when you're able, keeping yourself vertical too. You know what I'm saying? Like
that diaphragm.
keeping
My vocal coach,
everything nice and
posture kind of
open.
thing?
Yeah, posture is huge, man.
my vocal coach couldn't stress that enough.
Yeah.
That whole diaphragm and like let that resonance be there, because I mean you can capsize that resonance to where you're gonna be using too much of this.
Yep.
When you can hold back this and just let that resonance get stronger and stronger.
Yep.
You know, microphones are amplifying devices for a reason.
Right.
Use them. They're here for us to like project
when you start as a vocalist too, man, you don't understand the impedance of the microphone too. You know what I'm saying? Like with death metal guys, a lot of guys are they're right up into this shit. But you can do both. You know what I'm saying? Because you can get a lot of depth in it, and you can pull back, and you can use this, and you can when you're hitting those high notes, you can hit it here and push real hard and not overuse it. But I think that using your hand and using the microphone and its impedance and how it works, you're going to get a lot more out of it. You know what I mean? Like you're able to use the reverb off your hand, the bounce off your hand. Sometimes you can get a lot of this pulling in, pulling out. You know what I'm backing up off of it. Hitting your notes real hard and slowly moving into your note too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of magic with the microphone that you can play with.
Absolutely.
Being a like a guitar player who sings, it's so much harder for them guys to do that because they can't control it as much.
Right. So it's just their positioning, where they're standing.
Yeah.
How close they are to the mic, and maybe they might have some leeway to push their neck back a little bit.
Yep.
And do that stuff.
Yep.
So, but it's a little more restricted for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really appreciate, going back to the Maynard thing, I really appreciate like how he can juggle his voice too.
Yeah.
I like the juggling stuff, and these guys know that I try to implement some of that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all practice.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'll sit there and it's like, I don't like how I juggled that. I fell off too soon.
Right.
And so that's like his style of doing that kind of influenced me to put that in some of my lyrics and stuff like that.
Right.
Reddy went off about how like my screaming style, Matt Holtz, Corey Taylor. That's pretty much how they do their screaming is kind of like what I appreciated. So that's where that comes from.
I do hear some LaShawn in you, man.
Seven Dust for sure, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
Band for sure.
It's very, very big fan of that band, man. It's like just like his brisk. He's one of the most gracious singers. In the game, man.
Yep.
Just the brisk of his voice.
He reminds me a lot of God damn it, I can't think now. The vocalist of Living Color.
I was gonna say,
Corey,
I forget his name.
Corey Glover.
He did a song with Living Color, I think, live like once. I saw it on YouTube. It was pretty cool.
Corey Glover. If you haven't heard his first solo album, it is fucking amazing.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm probably gonna check it out after this podcast.
So much
Spotify.
Spotify. Oh, I wanted to tell you before I forget here. Misery Index, the ones that I have on here right now. God damn it.
Misery Index. Okay.
It is The Killing. Oh, God damn it. Moved it. LHM. There we go. Misery Index. Oh, there we go. The Killing Gods is a really good one.
Killing Gods. Okay.
Killing Gods has the culling on it. Oh, I wish I could play it right now because it is so heavy. And then Rituals of Power, and I think that's a newer one. Okay. If you like fast and you I love this stuff. One is from 2019. The Rituals of Power. It's a very they're a really good band. Or if you like Dying Fetus, those are those speeds where you're just like, just so fast.
I saw those guys
absolutely fast.
You're strangely very good at vocalizing that.
The pig squeals too.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I saw those guys live at the Myth, I think years ago, and I was still in high school.
Dying Fetus?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, my face was so melted. I was like. And I wasn't expecting it. I just saw the name, being in high school. I was like, I don't know who these guys are. Yeah,
God, who's coming to town this month?
I don't even know.
Isn't there a well-known band, the 28th or something? November something?
There is a really ridiculous band called Unmerciful playing next week.
Oh, okay.
At I believe the Caboose, I want to say.
With there's someone at the Fillmore coming.
Oh, Fillmore. Ginger.
No,
That was
No,
the
was,
series.
that was already
That was
did
last
that already
weekend.
happen? Oh yeah, it did. Shows you how much.
Same
But that
day.
lady,
Like,
holy shit.
She's like one of my favorites. Oh,
She can sing
She's
and
a-
she can squeal.
Yes.
My
So
future
she's
wife.
another vocalist that can do that switching to clean
Yes.
and visceral growling.
Yep. Real heavy.
Man, she does it well.
Narcotic
Yes, I have a
Wasteland.
crush on her.
Narcotic.
I'm not going to admit
She's
that.
fine. Why would you not?
I'm not
She's
gonna-
gorgeous.
Yeah.
I would.
Well, I think a lot of dudes do.
Oh
if
man.
if she could scream at me while we're doing it, I don't care.
Wah, wah, wah. This is not what I came here for.
I'm done. I'm finished.
I came here for some good quality, clean conversation.
Cattle decapitation is coming in February.
Kettle decapping. Okay.
That's a good one.
Remember those guys.
There's a lot of good stuff coming here.
One of my favorite shows I recently saw was that After the Burial concert with the Black Dahlia
Oh
murder.
yeah, yeah,
'Cause you
yeah. We were
too.
there.
Yeah, we
So
were
was
there.
the guys from Mirror Beam actually. Some
Yeah.
guys I went to high school with. Yeah, it was cool.
It was a good show.
Actually, that's where I got the shirt.
Nice.
You know, after the
I'm
burial.
a tie-dye guy, so I noticed the shirt right away. I was like, that's badass.
Blue's my favorite color. It looked cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Carnifex
Let's support
too
these
was there.
guys.
Those dudes are heavy as shit.
Dude,
Tight as
I was so tight. Like everything was so technical, but so like it sounded like almost mechanical. It was that tight.
Yeah.
And the
Every
drummer
stop was
every
together.
stop.
Every start was together.
Oh, yeah.
Everything in between.
Yeah, they're tight. Yeah.
They have like the backing track. They had to have ran like backing tracks. Cause like they had like the implodes like boom, like right
Oh,
before they
yeah,
would go
those-
into like
those
a
bass
breakdown.
drops.
Yeah.
Boom, right into it and stuff. I
Like
love it.
bass drops?
Like almost bass drops. That's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah.
808s.
You can do that better than I can. Do it again.
Boom. I found my calling, guys.
Hey, man, if your arms are tired, just beatbox over that shit. That'll always work.
Just give Brady a mic when he's drumming.
Yeah.
Where's that supposed to come in?
Now with this stuff, have you guys pushed it anywhere towards the radio station?
You want to take that one?
Sure. 93X played Lost Paradise August 31st.
Very
Right
cool.
before we dropped it.
Now just on their
Morning show. It was the
Yeah, so it
Hams.
was their morning show, and they it was really cool because all three of them kind of went in on
Yeah, they all
critiquing
talked,
it, and
yeah.
like this is really cool. God, who even like people from the chat were even saying,
Seven Dust, I think they said they.
yeah, because they didn't. Well, that wasn't the first. What was the band they said? Husker do, Husker don't.
Yeah, he said,
get
like,
out of here,
Husker
Jerry. No, he compared it to. I forgot the band that he compared it to.
Some like local. Was it a local
I
band?
think it was a local
Yeah, he said, like-
Minnesota act.
I can't remember the name. It was like. maybe-
I've got it saved to my phone. I can listen to the podcast anytime I want.
dude, that's hilarious. You're like Husker do, Husker don't. Come
that's what
on.
that's what he said.
No.
said
Yeah,
that,
well,
I was
they said that they were funny that day. They were pretty fucking
yeah.
hilarious.
I think Josh
But,
said Kill Switch.
Well, yeah, it
Or
was a
something?
kill switch type vibe, and then people in the chat were like saying they remind me of Seven Does, and like one of the I forget which one said
Nick. It was
Nick
Nick,
was like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah,
It's like they do.
they do." Damn it, how come I didn't pick up on that?
That's awesome.
They're funny, yeah, but they went in on it. They played the whole song, and yeah, they were just talking about it, and they were just kind of. I mean, we thank them a lot because they were giving us praise for
Yeah,
for
it was
the song and everything. So
very
that was really
thankful
cool.
for that. Like, you know what I mean? Just
Whatever you did to get them to play that early like that, do it again when you guys drop your album. Because,
Well, we
You
got
know.
some good stuff coming. So
well, you know that's the thing about that particular radio station, man. Back in the
Yeah.
day, you know, we were talking about before. You know, back in the day, they really helped a lot of local bands. You know what I mean? With American Head Charge, and I mean, there's so many bands. Blackfoot Diesel was played on there a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, there's so many great bands played on that stuff. Smiling Liar was played on there a lot. I mean, Skywine played on there a whole bunch, and the DJs helped out a lot. You know, there wasn't so
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
restrictions
Restrictions.
on what they played. You know, as far as like, okay, here's our playlist. This is what we do. The fucking 32 songs we just do this to every few hours. You know, we're just gonna flip them over. But when you're able to get on a good time like that, and it's not just Loud and Local or you know the Metal Shop or something like that, that you're always doing something right.
I appreciate it.
And I also appreciate like a lot of the other like radio stations that do like Mankato
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like a lot of the local stuff. Like hats off to them because being a local artist, it's sometimes really really hard to get your music heard.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the other like everything around here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
All the like St. Cloud, like Rockin' 101,
Yep.
those guys, like just if any music station that plays your stuff, man, like to any local band, it's huge for like the local music, because it's like we mentioned off air with the local music scene now, it's like it's hard to do shows right now with COVID. The venue, there's like less venues, like they're starting to close shop, a lot of them, and it's like anything to as far as getting the local music out there.
Yeah.
For any local band.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like there's so much good local talent.
I'll tell you what, man. Last Saturday really felt like a boost back to when it was really good, and I really want to say that not just because it was Black Flood Diesel, because Black Flood Diesel always used to draw very well back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Now we were talking about the caboose and some of these places now, with that show doing well, really, and people might not think of the ramifications of that particular show doing well. Now, I've talked to a couple different people about the caboose before they started doing shows, right? So they had the whiskey before COVID hit.
Yep.
The riots and everything went down. Whiskey got damaged. There was a lot of things that they didn't know if they were gonna repair or not. I know that I had asked about booking a show at the caboose, and one of the main concerns was, can you draw this X amount of people? Now, it's very difficult for local bands to do that these days. For a band like Black Flood Diesel to come back out after a 4-year hiatus and grab some of the toughest bands out there right now, bands that have been busy, been making material, been releasing albums, doing this stuff. All of those bands that open that show are all solid bands of different genres. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So for that show to do really well and so many people into it and showing up and showing support, not only is it going to open our scene up a little bit more, but that particular club is going to book more local stuff as long as we keep showing support to these clubs. Right. It's really, really huge. And I know Route 37 was having a little bit of trouble during the COVID thing, and they've kind of been teetering back and forth for a while now.
Yeah, I go there a lot because it's like close to my house and stuff. And yeah, it's like teeter tots. Yeah. And they have a lot of good shows. Like I'll go, even some of the cover bands there, like, amazing. Yeah, they have some really good. And they Thursday night's open jam night, I believe it is, where like you sign up the week before and you can like show up and play a song. It's like sometimes I'll go there and do like Metallica or something just to play on stage, just to get that outlet get that feel out. So it's been a while since I played a show. I think it was like April 2019 for me personally. So it's like, and we're working on stuff, behind the scenes and whatnot to do that. So, but yeah, no, it's just we just got to support the local music scene, regardless. If you see any show, I always tell people, if you see any local show, go to it go to as many as you can, basically.
Got to kind of like build the momentum up again.
Yeah, and with that being said, I mean, also be safe while you're doing it too. You know what I mean? If you don't feel comfortable, wear a fucking mask. If you don't feel comfortable wearing a mask, stay the fuck away from people. I mean, it's really difficult in a tight club. It gets warm and it gets sweaty and it gets kind of nasty. And it's honestly, man, I've been spooked out a few times where I'm like, fuck, man, I'm gonna walk out of here sick. I know it, man. You know what I mean? Like when I got tagged in a post this week, saying, hey, you might want to pay attention to, pay attention to if you have any symptoms or not. And I was just like, damn it, man. We're not out of the woods yet. And now I just saw something in the news this week about deer. About deer getting COVID, and now they call it, what did they say? It was a reservoir thing now, that deer can get it, right? And so when people are out hunting, right, they kill the deer, they eat it, they give it, and it metastasizes into something else, right? So it's periodically just going to go away and come back, and it can.
So now it's something we can test deer out for then before you consume.
Yes, I'm sure you can, but at the same time, here's the thing though: there's always this reservoir there. Yeah. So now animals can get it, so now they can give it back to us, so they can change it into something else. That's a scary thing. That means that it's never going to fucking go away. That's why I was like, wow, man, just seeing that. And I just stumbled on it in the news, too. I'm like, what? I touched him. What the fuck? Now they're finding it, and that they're, it's back and forth. It's kind of crazy shit.
It's going to be an uphill, but I think we can.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the music industry is being affected by it too, because a lot of the big tiered national acts too, like even with tours and stuff. Sometimes like the companies and whatnot that are running it will just shut down their tour, be like, all right, there's been too many COVID infections,
It's
or
where, like, there's just some places that you're just not going to be coming to play. I mean,
that's the thing though, and a lot of people should look at it like this too. And you have to think about these touring bands. What they do for a living is they tour. They make money off of doing these tours. So for them to go, yeah, we don't want to jeopardize ourselves, and we don't want to jeopardize our families and our fans for this. You know what I mean? So we are going to schedule it for another year. Maybe we'll come up with something that's going to get us that much further and be able to do long stints of touring. But then, throughout this whole thing, Florida and Texas and, what I mean, South Dakota, they didn't give a fuck. Man, you know what I mean? And a lot of people died from that shit too,
Yeah.
It's a spooky thing, man. Spooky thing. So we got to keep it safe and keep it going at the same time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, here's the thing though. You guys, it seemed like you guys were being creative through this whole process, man.
Yep.
With things being shut down, there's a lot of bands that didn't make it through this shit, man. There's a lot of bands that kind of were like, yeah, I don't want to be in a room with these cats. You know what I mean? I don't know where you're working or what, you know what I mean?
What you doing on your off time, who you're hanging out with.
Right.
Stuff,
Spooky, man.
Or whatever,
Yeah. Spooky stuff. But, again, being creative through this whole process probably helps a lot of people heal too,
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Dreams Aside too is born because of it. I mean, basically, because, in a way, if you think about it, because we all kind of came together and.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
we just all had to do something with music,
yeah.
So it's like, well, all the pieces kind of like conveniently fell where they did.
Yep. It selected you, man. That's all there is to it.
We have been sired to our fates.
I'm a firm believer of that stuff, man. That it does select you. It does pull you into this lifestyle.
Yes,
and then I see in the news people like Al Jorgensen and
Ministry, yeah.
somebody else too said they were talking about being in bands and saying that their bodies are giving out on them now, and that they want to tell young musicians to not do it. You know what I mean? It's like it's like Junior Seau, shot himself in the chest so people could research his brain from all of the concussions and all of the
stuff,
the shit happening to him. He wanted other people to see, to figure out what was going on, traumatic brain injury, things like that. So it's crazy to me that, musicians that you look up to are like, yeah, you don't want to do this. Like, I'm fucking old and rickety now. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's a fucking, it's a sacrifice.
Yeah. And on that note, I would say, if you can still, maybe the performing thing you can't do forever, but if you can still write stuff, I think it was LeJon Witherspoon said from Seven Dust, he said, I'm just going to keep doing this until I can't sing anymore.
Right.
So, I mean, those guys are,
so he'll be like 100 and they'll still be,
I mean, I don't think his voice is ever, I mean, it can age where it wants to, but it's so iconic now that
so strong.
Even if it gets old, he's still going to have like, he can do something different. And now that my voice is this way, I'm going to have a different approach to music.
Yeah.
And, he's still going to probably write something that's still beautiful to listen to with that older
dude's
voice.
So talented too.
Because, I mean, hell, man.
And so age with social media too, like you can continue to write. So it makes it easier to like put out stuff too with the social media. Like keep writing throughout the years.
So I couldn't even imagine when I was a kid that you could take a computer and go into a studio space and throw some mics on some shit and go, hey, this is practice. That's practice? Holy shit, you could release that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think people like seeing that organic side too.
Yeah.
Even something as simple as like on like laptops, like GarageBand, just making stuff. Like it's just crazy where it's been like 30 years ago. You didn't even think about that stuff. Everything was had to be like all studio time.
Yeah.
And,
crazy shit, man. Now people are they're writing in their basement. You know what I mean? With COVID too. You know what I mean? That's a huge highlight of it. You know what I mean? I can, patch you in from another location and
On
you
the
could
planet.
Yeah, dude,
quarantine sessions they call them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands that are doing like those quarantine sessions when they were like
Down did.
Yeah, Down.
Clutch did.
Yep.
Obituary did like 3 different albums all in their entirety. Like their first 3 albums, they were like, yeah, we're going to do Slowly We Rot, Cause of Death, and you know what I mean? It's like their greatest hits. They played 3 different things, sold 3 different tickets. They sold like packages and shit, you know what I mean? That's a great idea.
I want to say, like, even just some of the... There's a lot of bands that did, like, the whole, like, during COVID where they would, like... Obviously, the social distancing and stuff, there was no, like, fans there, but they had, like, the video, and they still did the whole light show, fog, and stuff like Motionless in White did that. Obviously, Seven Dust did that. They
too,
did... Seven Dust did their whole Animosity album from front to back, like, early January.
Right.
It was the coolest thing because they never play those songs anymore, and they just did like
that's got to be on YouTube or something.
It has to be somewhere. I saw it. It was awesome.
It might be behind a
really
paywall
cool.
still though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you would pay for it just like you were going to a show,
$10
and then
or
you
something,
just like watch on your phone or your TV
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, I know
you
that
said
I know the
was.
Clutch one was like that too, but like within a few days it was up on YouTube. Same with the,
okay,
the Down
okay.
one.
Maybe it
they
is.
played
Maybe
the
it
whole
is.
NOLA album. Downplayed that whole NOLA album in its entirety, and I know that shit was up the very next
Okay,
day.
so maybe it is then. I guess we can
I'll have to
at
look
it.
at. Yeah, I'll have to look that up then.
Yeah, it was like I had something going on, and I fucking missed all of that shit. And I'm like, oh man, I better go be able to find this shit. YouTube, save me! You know, ready to rip. So, I appreciate you guys coming in tonight, man, and doing the show.
Yeah,
and,
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
and dropping some knowledge on folks, man. I'm excited to see what you guys got coming up, and
We're excited
We're
to,
super stoked.
to
And,
show people, man.
when you guys have
It's
some
a-coming.
shows coming, man, let me know, and
Yeah.
I'll
Sure.
Justin's always good at informing me and letting me know what's
Randy,
going on.
man.
Oh, yeah, he's always working behind the scenes,
He
man.
is.
Always
He's-
doing something.
Always.
He might have some news in the future, but there's something he's been working on for a while. So he was really excited to share that with us. But we can't say anything
Oh,
yet.
on the air or anything yet. So.
Okay,
Well,
so
again,
no,
again,
you don't get to know that.
Congratulations to Justin and his family on
Yeah.
the,
Absolutely,
on the new
yep.
birth as well.
Yep.
We do have an unreleased song that you guys were about to release. Justin sent it to me, so we've got some reflections to go out to. So,
Oh, did Justin just send it?
No, he sent it to me. I had it lined up.
Oh,
already.
okay.
So this is the I was just I want to chime in real quick. This is the music video, the one where we're waiting on the music video.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Being cut
release
right
it
now,
full of being
so-
cut and stuff. So this is the song that we're about to drop for the actual video.
Awesome. And if you watched in the beginning, or if you want to go back and know what this song's about, if you're catching this at the end of it,
yeah.
make sure that you go back and listen to the explanation.
Go ahead and watch
too.
the podcast when
Yeah,
it's
man.
When it's
yeah,
out
when it's
there.
all said and done.
Hell yes. And again, thank you everybody for tuning in on this beautiful, chilly Friday evening, and hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Do you guys have anything else that you want to pump at all?
I think we covered it for the most part, but anything new comes up, we'll let you know. As far as it stands, May 14th,
Yeah.
Lupin Brewing Company will be. If we don't have a show before that, that'll technically be our first one then. But if we have one before that, we'll let everyone know.
Yeah, and we'll let everybody know more of the details. It's still being worked out. Things subject to change. Things can maybe change with it as far as like time frame or something. But that's like tentatively what we're looking at. And
awesome.
Obviously, got to hammer out all the details. And
That's
all
how it
that
works,
fun
man.
stuff.
Yes. Well, thank you guys again very much for coming in, man. Number 250, man. Look at that. We hit a milestone and had a fucking awesome podcast all in one shot. Up is some reflections from Dreams Aside. Check it out. Don't forget to look them up on www.dreamsaside.online. You can see their videos and listen to some more of their tunes. And I'm sure we'll keep you in the know of their upcoming shows and whatnot and what they got planned. Again, that's www.dreamsaside.online. Hit them up. This is Reflections. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next week. Peace.
A new man Ritual Madness Podcast. Ritual Madness Podcast. Ritual Madness Podcast. Ritual Madness Podcast.